Hey YouTube, I'm Stanley Pacion. I met Wijaya, a poet and a video artist, online. He's from the nation of Indonesia, the island of Sumatra. He has sent me a number of his video uploads. They are wonderfully exotic, and he recites his poetry with what I may call a liturgical cadence. At least that's what we would call it in the West. He provides an English translation from the Indonesian of his poem in the YouTube description box, but they are usually garbled, probably computer translations. Nonetheless, a few of his poems have inspired me to adaptation. Now I would like to read you my original poem inspired by his words and a title called Ratna. I begin it. Ratna, you may laugh at me. I call it an adaptation of a poem by T.J. Wijaya. It's an adaptation, an inspiration. Ratna, you may leave me, but the blanket on our bed remains. Sometimes out from the windows in the street I hear a chattering. I push open the drapes, look from my window, but see no one. Because the event reoccurs regularly at 15 minutes before the bell of the day's 9th hour, I imagine children who hurry, hasten, not to be late for school. It's a collective voice, and it seems to capture, as if these youngsters read my poem aloud, though they mispronounce the words and slaughter the meter. How the poem means, the love burning, the fire in my heart, my love for you with excellence matching, for the poet himself to read the lines. How strange it must be in class when they learn the language of science, yet my textbook has taught reveals nothing but great passion. The grand attraction, a knowledge no amount of everyday timely attendance might bring to reason, or be sufficient to realize with easy, algebraic, chalkboard formulation. My feelings, the terms of my endearment, dwell far removed from any chapbook lesson. It reminds me of the hapless task, trying to reason the abundance of all the great gifts God bestows, though we may be meritless and in no way deserve that grace, the bounty which freely falls upon us. Ratna, you may laugh at me, but when I awaken I pretend to have coffee percolated for you, or that soon I receive your telephone call, your voice at the other end, you, no longer at business, but here, now, the distance between us breached, the gap closed, when I hear your vocal timbre. Ratna, you may have gone, flown from my arms, yet I remain deeply enamored. My thoughts of you, our life together remains indelible, my desire for it, anew, once more to live its glory. It burns within my mind's eye and warms my soul. Remember the tree I planted in your garden? Its fruit has become the property of another, and each and every time I think it over, your departure, the awful pain, my life without you, I find myself back at the desk and write verse, hoping to explain how overburdened my being, the splendid images, the endless cacophony of words, the visceral weight, the compulsion to relive. My life returns to vision and sounds, the chapters which comprise the big book of our history. Oh, how I wish you had never left me. Ratna, in your heart, my love for you may be dead. But each day I rouse in that blue room, that blue bedroom where we started the day. Each day I wake to the same blue sky which houses our Lord. To him I pray and ask that his will has you returning someday. Ratna, my lovely light, the dream which floods across this room, down upon the keyboard, and propels my fingers to write, how my heart aches. Do not fear me. Do not fear this verse. Darling, listen not to friends who claim misgivings, who believe I have taken leave of my senses, that my ultimate design contain harm to you. You know that is not the case. I write the moment, but mean it for the ages. Word and all posterity to see my good fortune, the gratitude I feel in having loved you and making your acquaintance. Well, I'd like to say good evening to you. I'm Stanley Pacion. That was a poem called Ratna. You may laugh at me. And it's an adaptation inspired by a poem by T. Wijaya, an Indonesian poet. Good evening.